then obviously you and I will analyze it, pontificate, and everything else that we do. Jessica, let's hit the judge's little rant.
So I'm going to say
shots
goodbye.
are being fired, and he's running from the scene because shots are being fired.
Right. And he's got
in
a
light
holster.
of what's happening in
Got it.
Your Honor,
Sir,
in light of what's happening in this country with unarmed black men being killed by police,
don't hand me that. Don't hand me that.
From shots being
don't
fired
even go down that road. I'm not going to let you go down that road. That is so off base. We've got a young man. I don't care what color he is. He's in a neighborhood he doesn't live in. At 1:41 in the morning, hiding on under somebody's dock in the water with a holster on after a police officer had a shot taken at him. Don't hand me this. He's a black man running from police brutality. Look, that is not appropriate in this case. That's not there. I'm not going to let you poison this case with bringing in something that has nothing to do with it. Your bond's $100,000 on count 3 and $100,000 on count 4. Thank you.
Oh, Judge Housen, what do you think about that?
I think it's absolutely perfect. And you know that attorneys are going to start throwing that stuff, unintended consequences of Department of Justice and White House leadership. An unintended consequence of that is that stuff is going to be thrown up all the time, just if nothing other than a trial balloon in front of a jury. Well, you know what? It's a mixed race defendant, and that's the reason the police just to see if they can troll for jury nullification, they can troll to get thrown out on bail, reduction of sentence, something. You know that's going to happen all the time now, man.
No, you're exactly right, and I'm a bit more cynical than you, perhaps, at least as it relates to this thing. But I think it's completely intended. I think it is completely intended by Barack. If I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon Obama. By Eric My People Holder. Set aside idiots like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, but I think it's completely intended on their part.
You mean it's intended by those people to throw this as an issue into the legal system?
I think that when people of their stature, and I put that in air quotes, and that's not, I guess that's not fair because obviously we respect the office of the presidency. We respect the position of attorney general. But I think whenever these people, being the two aforementioned gentlemen, every time they speak out, we have a race issue in this country, we got to face it. We got to deal with it. I think it just exacerbates everything. And I think it's part of the intent. And again, maybe I'm being cynical for public defenders and whomever to throw up this dopey ass argument.
Yeah, and I love that the judge. No. Don't hand me this running from the police brutality argument. That is not appropriate. I'm not going to let you poison this case. It's perfect.
It was perfect. Like, dude went Judge Judy on that guy.
Right. Have you ever seen the Brian Regan bit where he talks about no-nonsense judges?
I have not, but he's hilarious.
It kind of brings to mind about this. I mean, this guy's a no-nonsense judge. And Regan comes out and he's just saying, what's all this about no-nonsense? Oh, he's a no-nonsense judge. I mean, are there nonsense judges? Are there judges that are out and they're like, let's live and have a love? I mean, there's not a single judge in America that doesn't describe themselves as a no-nonsense judge. Well, this guy here just proved certainly he's a no-nonsense judge, no question.
There's no question at all. And, the only unfortunate part about it, and, maybe he had to do it. I mean, he took a break. We cut it off after he said thank you or whatever. He went on called a short break, came back and apologized to the public defender for his demeanor. He did not apologize for his comments, and there's a distinction there. Nor should he have, because
absolutely he should not have. No question.
No.
Maybe the demeanor, maybe you know what? I should have phrased my hell no in a different manner. But the concept and the idea of hell no, yeah, Mr. Public Defender, Mr. Defendant, yeah, that still stands.
Yeah, don't give me that crap.
Do not bring that crap in here.
Kudos to that judge, man. I put this up a few days ago on IJR, and I don't have it in front of me. His name escapes me, but this guy has quite a following. This judge across the country. It's almost like the equivalent of Sheriff Arpaio. Or no, Sheriff. What's his name?
Joe Arpaio.
Yeah, in
Arizona.
yeah, it's the same kind of deal. Kudos to both of those guys, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, where do you want to head now?
I want to talk about this proposed pay increase for federal workers.
Love it.
Yeah, so folks, this thing is it's still sitting in queue on IJ Review. Hopefully, it will go up
Within the next 30 days.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
yeah, and I actually did a little video on it. I'll post the video. And I'm going to take the same tact, Mike, I took in the article, and maybe you'll want to push back.
Okay.
In fact, because you might disagree with me about it, and if so, I'll welcome the debate. Here's the problem, folks.
I thought you were going to say, and if so, I'll tell you why you're wrong.
Well,
anyway.
I will tell you why you're wrong, because I have an extremely, extremely well-developed argument. Here's the deal, guys. Earlier this week, Jerry Connolly, hero House member in Virginia, he proposed a bill, the Federal Adjustment of Income Rates Act, the FAIR Act. And what it's doing is it's going to give federal workers a 3.8% pay hike because since 2010, federal workers have had their wage increase limited to 1% a year. Connolly said this, no other group in our country has been more demonized, demoralized, and asked to sacrifice more than our federal workforce. They have been disparaged and belittled.
Okay.
All right. So here's my perspective on it. A 3.8% increase for our federal workers is woefully insufficient, Mike. It's embarrassing. It's wrong. It's immoral. And we need to give them way more than a 3.8% increase.
Well, I mean, I think you're right because they slave for us on a daily basis without acknowledgement of the great job they do, the efficiency, the lack of waste, the way that they, federal employees, I mean, it's the equivalent of a V12 engine humming along perfectly, right?
Well, exactly. In fact, there were a couple, and I'll explain my reasons to you. But there's a couple people on board with this. There's a fellow by the name of J. David Cox, who is well, he's the president of the American Federation of Government Employees. He said a 3.8% raise would help federal employees recoup some of the lost income and ensure that the government is able to recruit and retain the high caliber workers that taxpayers expect.
Okay.
Right? Colleen,
okay.
Another lady, Colleen Kelly, she happens to be, she's the president of the National Treasury's Employees Union. She said, faced with the shrinking resources and meager pay increases, if at all, federal agencies and employees are finding it harder to accomplish their missions. So I put together 4 specific reasons why a 3.8% increase is woefully insufficient and we should give them far, 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 far more.
Okay, so let me tell the folks. Hausman and I talking offline before. This is perhaps why, not perhaps, we believe that this thing is sitting in the queue as a draft because it may perhaps, I'm going to go out on a limb before you tell us what they are, be perhaps perceived as just a bit too satirical, right?
Well, if so, I'm already offended.
Proceed, my friend.
Okay, number one, the most important reason, well, I can't say they're in any order, but there are 4 reasons. The number one is that if we only give them a 3.8% increase, the possibility will be our federal workers will become homeless.
Well, see, you're exactly right. And who wants to see a federal worker standing on a street corner with a cardboard sign?
Absolutely. Washington, D.C. real estate has increased by 36% since 2010.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Number 2, and this is important, they'll be able to know what time it is. It would be unreasonable to expect that an office worker could not show up at their desk if they don't know what time it is. I did some research. Basic watch. And what I searched is the Patek Philippe Calatrava. That watch, the price of that watch is up 25% since 2010.
And what is that thing? I mean, like a mid-range, whatever the hell brand you just mentioned. I mean, what does that go for?
Now or way back in 2010?
No, right now, which makes it completely unreachable for federal workers. What's it right now? What do you think?
The Patek Philippe Calatrava, about 21,000.
Well, see, there's no way they can afford that, dude. I think you got me on board so far.
Right. Okay. Number 3, an increase more than 3.8%. It's going to make continuing education affordable.
That's a good point, although, well, no, I have to back that up because Obama's already offered 2 years of free, but that would be community college. So
yeah,
okay.
This is continuing education. I did
right. No, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, I did some research on this. At Harvard, the John F. Kennedy School of Government grad degree in public policy, it's up 25%.
Wow.
It's $74,000 a year to get that degree. But think about this, Mike. Relative to the size of the U.S. economy, it's nothing.
Well, of course.
Right.
And again, another example of how federal employees are just being completely shafted.
Right. And then the last one, and depending on who you are, this actually may be the most influential of all. Malta, Cyprus, Luxembourg, Belgium, all of the wage index levels for those European leaders far in excess of what's being proposed here.
See, that's disgraceful. Listen, I mean, there are multiple times when we think, dude, maybe we should just kind of stop the show right now and get to work. But there may be a pack for this, but I think if there isn't one, or maybe even if there already is, you and I need to definitely get some political action going on this thing because this is completely disgraceful.
If government workers in Malta, Cyprus, and Luxembourg are indexed to a far more aggressive increase than, I mean, isn't that embarrassing? I mean, shouldn't we be able to say, hey, we're at least kicking Luxembourg and Cyprus's ass in regards to taking care of our valued government employees?
I think so. I mean, and irrespective of the, as it relates to overall size of various world economies, we now can proudly say we're number two to China, depending on it. There's different ways you can measure that. But then to have to add your ass is getting kicked by Malta. I mean, come on.
Right. And it's interesting. Earlier, we were talking about the idea of reparations with regard to racial injustice in the Oscars. These folks, they've been limited to merely a 1% guaranteed annual rate of increase in pay since 2010. I think reparations may be another discussion. And simply the way to do that is to take Jerry Connolly's proposal of 3.8% and say, thank you, no thank you, and really give it a nice, big, fat, healthy, loving, caring number.
Well, of course, because that would support, the whole thing of government taking care of us, from cradle to grave. Listen, if we expect the government to take care of us, dude, we got to take care of the government.
You know what, Mike? I'm going to write this down because this is tweetable. If we expect government to take care of us, we need to take care of the government. Okay, that's good.
There we go.
That's good. Very good. All right, you know what we've just done, by the way, brother?
We've spent a half hour, man.
Yeah.
But it was a fun half hour.
Informative, entertaining, and then we've got now we've got some go-to actions. We've got some protesting to do at the Oscars, some letters to write to our congressman, and Jerry Connolly needs to get with the program.
And real quickly, that might need to be our new subhead. If we expect the government to take care of us, we need to take care of them.
Folks, you have been listening to The Right Mics with Mike Miller and Michael Hausum. We appreciate it so much. We'll be back just after the news. And feel free to call in 412-567-6879. We'll be